Hi, I'm David Goforth with Cooperative Extension Successful Gardener. Today I want to talk a little bit about a mushroom and show you how you can grow mushrooms yourself. The mushroom I'm talking about is the one called Shiitake mushroom. Take means mushroom in Japanese, and Shia means the oak tree. Put it together, it's the mushroom of the oak tree, or Shiitake as it's known. These started showing up in our local grocery stores maybe 4 or 5 years ago, but we have proven that we can grow them here in Cabarrus County. I know of about 8 people that have grown Shiitake mushrooms here in Cabarrus County, and so those are ones that we have proven. There's possibly a few others we could grow, but I'm going to show you the Shiitake mushroom today. Shiitake mushrooms are the second most popular mushroom in Japan, and they are consumed for a number of reasons, but they do have some medicinal reasons. They are considered to be stress reducers, for example, blood pressure reducers, cholesterol reducers, a number of benefits that are ascribed to the Shiitake mushroom. But the other thing I like about them is they're just real good food to eat. I like to use them in stir fry. A venison Shiitake stir fry is one of my favorite dishes. And here we've got one growing on this particular log right here. We grow them on oak logs. This log is somewhere between 3 to 5 inches is ideal. You can do it on smaller and larger logs. You get too small and the logs will normally break apart on you. It's just the sapwood, it's what's consumed. This one is a fungi that needs oxygen, so it grows to the outer side of the log and on the sapwood. And you can grow it on any type of oak, which we have the white oak. Both of these are white oak right here, but post oak's very popular. Also, you can grow it on the red oaks and the black oaks that we have growing in our local woodlot here. And it's fairly easy to get these things. They're not used for very much besides firewood. And if you would coordinate with a small scale logger or with somebody that's taking down trees, you would be able to get a supply of these on a fairly regular basis. This time of the year is the best time of the year to inoculate things, looking at early spring, somewhere it's February, March, April time frame. Cutting the trees before they leaf out, they will have more carbohydrates here stored within the bark, and they'll be just a little bit more productive. Although you could do it in the fall of the year with fairly good success also. In addition to the substrate, the oak log here, you need some wax, a little bit of wax here melted to put over the opening to protect it a little bit when you put the spawn in there. In addition, you need the spawn. This spawn right here was ordered, and it's available online, different places. It comes in a bag like this is the way it's grown. This was grown on sawdust here, and this bag will actually allow air and stuff to come in through it here. It's shipped in a regular plastic bag, but once you get it here, you can let it set out at room temperature for a week or so in this form here with no problem. I normally sit it in a shady area instead of in direct sun, but you can set this right here and allow it to continue to grow, continue to be active. Once you get ready to use it, you would open it up and take a little bit of it out. I'm going to put a little bit in this bucket right here to do my inoculation with today. And this white mycelium, you're doing it from myceliums, not from spores, but the white mycelium will grow within this right here. In addition, I've got a tool here that will allow me to pick up a little bit of this and put it into the log very easily. You don't necessarily have to have this tool. In fact, I've done it a number of times with just my fingers, but fingers will get sore fairly rapidly if you're doing it that way. You can also buy the mushroom mycelium on wooden dowels, and you can take the dowels and just drive them in with a hammer, which is a lot better on your fingers. So that's another possibility. You've got to drill holes within the log, and you can do that with you want a regular bit with a power bit. In fact, it'd be better to have a high-speed bit, but I've done it with this a lot of times and tend to do it with this time. And you can use regular wood bits that you might have around here, such as this one, or you can get these specialty bits here. This is a bit designed for a high-speed drill, and we'll see how it works here in just a few minutes. If you're going to use a regular drill like this, you would want to either get a collar where you get a depth gauge on it, or put a piece of tape around it to where you could monitor your depth and make your depth gauge a little bit better. This has got an automatic depth gauge already built into it here. And this, along with the wax that we'll put over to protect it, we're ready to go at this time. You can see we're putting the holes anywhere from 3, 6 to 8 inches apart right here. It's not real critical. It just takes a longer time if you get them too far apart. and we're spacing the rows about 2 to 3 inches apart this way. So we'll have, in this particular log, we'll have 3 rows that run all the way down it, anywhere from 3 to 6 inches. It'd be better if you evenly spaced them apart here, up and down this row here. You want to do this on a fairly fresh log. This log was cut yesterday, which was ideal. It would be acceptable up to about 10 days, and it would work beyond that point, but what you run the risk of is other fungi getting in here and getting started. And if other fungi are getting started, that's going to cut down on your yield from the particular mushroom that you're wanting. When we first started this years ago, some of the information out there was to wait 2 or 3 months, and some people tried that. They didn't have as good a results, but they did get some results. So you can see that it's not necessarily that critical to get it within the 10 days, but it's preferable to get it fairly new. Okay, what I'm doing at this time is I'm getting the mycelium here with this particular tool right here, just catching the sawdust up in there like that, and then move it over here to the hole, put it on the hole and just plunge it down in there, and that fills it, puts the sawdust into the sap layer here of the white oak. I've actually done this on sweet gum before, and you could probably do it on a few other things really, but oak works the best. I think maybe some of our other mushrooms might work better on things like elm or sweet gum or poplar, things like that. So you might try that in the future sometime, but I know this will work. Okay, once you've got the sawdust in here, you want to protect it with the wax, and then you also want to protect any cut areas. Like if you had a side limb, you might put wax on that, and some people will put wax over the ends to protect the ends. That may or may not be necessary, but it will keep the moisture from leaving out of there, and moisture control is sort of the difficult step on this. What would be ideal is if you had the interior of the wood was very wet and the exterior was totally dry, which is hard, impossible to do. But that's the reason they'll put wax on there, is to make that happen, and or to keep the moisture in there a little bit better. And what you'll do is you'll set these things up to let them run for about 6 months to a year. Hopefully by 6 months, by the fall of the year, we may get the mycelium to run all the way through here. And once the mycelium runs all the way through and takes up all the available space, it will change over the oxygen to carbon dioxide ratio, and that will start the mushrooms out, and we'll get what we've got on the other one over there, is the mushrooms will initiate. Around here they naturally will initiate during the fall, cooler parts of the fall, and then in the spring, and then during the midsummer they're dormant across the midsummer. So you get some production in the spring and some production in the fall. Now it is possible to force them if you will throw them into a barrel of water, let them sit for a couple of days, then get them back out. Sometimes that will force them during other times of the year, but naturally just setting them out, they will fruit in the spring and in the fall of the year. The two things you really have to worry about during those times is the squirrels and the deer. Both of them will come in and get your mushrooms and pick your mushrooms for them. But if you get beyond that, you can pick those mushrooms, then wait 2 or 3 months, and then they'll be ready to go again. And these logs will last about 5 years. Some of the smaller ones, thinner ones, may not last quite 5 years before they're consumed, but the bigger ones that have got some heart in there to sort of keep them intact, they'll last easily 4 or 5 years, and then you can burn the inside at that point in time, or just toss them away either way. Now once we've got the sawdust finished and the wax put over it, we want to let it run for 6 months or however long it takes to fill the mycelium up through the sapwood of the log here. We can do that one of two ways. We can put it log cabin style, where we lay it, just alternate it down in a shady area, somewhere where we could hopefully get a little bit of water on them occasionally if it got dry, and allow them to run like that. That's a little bit better because it's easier to manage the moisture in both ends of the logs. But probably what I have done a lot of times is just set it up on the side of a building, on the north side of the building, where it would be in shade, where you can keep an eye on them, and that will, the moisture is a little bit harder. One end of the wood turns out to be a little bit drier than the other end of the wood, but it's still doable. It's still a workable situation, and you will get production from it, particularly for a homeowner situation. So those are a couple of your options until you get the time for the mushrooms to produce. And basically that's all there is to producing shiitake mushrooms. I think this would be a very good way of utilizing some of the trees that we cut down in urban areas. Some of the tree people have this material that would be available for a price, you could get them to save it for you. You may want to make sure they don't knock the bark off or anything, but an intact one like this with a tight bark, this is a very good candidate for inoculating like this. If you've got any questions about shiitake, give me a call at the office. And until next time, plan and plant for a better world.